Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Elliott. We're going to be talking about the Powhatan Indian tribe today. The Powhatan Indian tribe is located here in the Eastern Woodlands region. As you can see in the map, the Eastern Woodlands region is located along the coast where we live. We live right here in Virginia, which is about this area right here. They have many things located in this Eastern Woodland region, including many wonderful plants. The plant life that they have in the Eastern Woodlands region are trees, flowers, and of course, many plants that have fruits on them or berries that could be picked by the Eastern Woodland tribe. Eastern Woodland land features that they have are many things that you've seen in your area, or maybe if you've traveled up and down the East Coast before. We have rivers and we have a coastline of the Atlantic Ocean. So many shellfish and fish were available for the Powhatan Indians to be able to eat. We also have hills and mountains where they were able to go and hunt and gather other types of food. The weather here in the Eastern Woodlands region is exactly the way that our weather here is in Chesapeake. We have hot, humid summers. Humid means that kind of sticky feeling that we get sometimes when we go out in the sun, and even mild winters. Not too freezing cold, not a lot of snowy days, but it does get somewhat chilly here. The Powhatan Indians adapted and used many items in their region to help them survive. And one of those was the wonderful forest that they had here. So their houses were called longhouses. The longhouses were made on the outside of tree bark that would give them protection from those mild winters, any cold air that came in, as well as branches or even cutting the trees to make the frame of their longhouse. The longhouses were permanent homes, and you could fit many people inside that long home. So you can imagine living in a longhouse with your family, as well as your grandparents, maybe your aunts and uncles, and even your cousins all together in one house. Transportation that the Powhatan Indians had were, of course, they used their feet to walk around in many areas of the Eastern Woodlands region, but they also had that wonderful water around them. And so they had to come up with a way to use that water for transportation or maybe even for fishing. So they made canoes. The canoes are made from big, huge tree trunks that they cut down and kind of scooped out the inside so that they would be able to sit somewhere and take them out on the water. Occupations or jobs that the Powhatan Indians had were fishing, hunting, and farming. The Powhatan men were in charge of hunting and fishing, and the Powhatan women were actually in charge of farming and growing those vegetables and keeping up with them while the men were out fishing and hunting. Adaptations is a word that we learned earlier in the school year when talking about animals. Animals have to change to survive in their habitats. And the Powhatan Indians did that exact same thing. They had to change and they had to adapt to survive in the Eastern Woodlands region. And one of the ways that they did that was using their surroundings, using those trees to build longhouses to have a shelter, using those trees to build canoes so they would have transportation, they wouldn't have to walk everywhere, using the natural berries, fruits, and even the vegetables that were growing already in the area. They learned how to use those as well. And specifically, the Powhatan men, they became hunters and they hunted out the animals that were living in their region. I hope you enjoy learning about the Powhatan Indians today, and I can't wait to keep going.